Hey, how's it going? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the incredible nature of numbers. When we talk about numbers, what we're talking about are all of the sequences that are available in the universe, and these are harmonic in nature because everything that is harmonic is balanced through the rhythm, and this rhythm is numerous. Numerous is actually another word for rhythm. So everything numerous is everything numerical, rhythmical. This is why music is numerical. We write it in terms of numbers. When we're looking at numbers, the first thing that we see is that we're confronted with the story of where did numbers actually come from? Because everything started from nothing, right? So when we have nothing, we have the big zero, right? So when we have nothing, this is what we've got. We've got nothing. And this zero is a circle. This zero is a cycle. So this was a cycle that was eternal. But this cycle is complete. And in itself, it has no need for anything else because it is complete. It is whole. So it is just there as endless, as eternal, as never beginning, never starting. Because when you look at a circle, you can never tell where it starts and where it begins because it's just whole. So it just keeps on going round and round and round. So this started happening until we got to a certain point where this cycle was broken in half. So this is the whole cycle, and then it was broken in half either like this or like that. So this cycle was broken in half like this, and this is the number of phi, which is another number which shows the ratio of the universe through the Fibonacci numbers. This is another way that it could also have been broken, which is what the earth looks like, which is our whole world, which is so both of these are two lines that form across. So these two lines form the first division, which is either direction it was, either angle it was, whatever it was the first division. And this division is divine because it is the divide. So this division created the first one, the first figure. This is the figure. So this figure created this one. Okay, so what you have to know is that the whole universe only has 0 and 1 as the only numbers that actually exist, because binary language, which is computer language, uses numbers. So they don't use 4s and 5s and 6, they use 0s and 1s because these two have the key to everything. Because through this whole cycle we have something that started as a division and as a figure. So this figure was the first figure. So when everything was in the loop, in the zero, in the naught, in the divine, in the eternal, in the round, in the circle, everything was perfect. But then when the first figure came, it was a little bit odd because it didn't have anywhere to go. So this figure couldn't go forward, couldn't go back. So it was very, very odd. So what happened is that there was another figure that was introduced, which was taken from this one, taken from the rib of the first figure. The first odd Adam was a number to even it out, which was 2, which was the evening, or Eve. So Eve came so that the situation wouldn't be odd. So now there are 3 things. There's the eternal, there's Adam, and there's Eve. So through this we have the Trinity. We now have 1, 2, 3 already, because now we're looking at the constituent parts that created 0 or nothing. Adam was created out of nothing, out of 0. This is how, like, where does 0 come from? This is the overarching question that we have. Where does the great O come from? The great 0, the holy number, come from? Where is that hole? Because it's just a hole, like an actual hole. Like there's a hole in this number. So another way of looking at this, to just make it simple, is that we have 1, we have 2, and now we have 3. So this is actually how you write the first 3 numbers in Chinese. This is 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, we have Adam, Eve, and the tree, or the 3. So from this 3, when you add another stroke, you have the actual visual 3. Okay? So you have 1, 2, and 3. But now the thing with this 3 is that it's very interesting that you use 1, 2, 3, 4 strokes to create 3, which is you use 1 for 1, you use 2 for 2, you use 3, you use 4 for 3. Interesting. And what do you do? For 4, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for 4, you use 1, 2, 3. But for 3, you use 4. So you have to understand that in the beginning, God created the world. Okay? God. These are actually called gods. And they'll tell you that it's a trinity, right? This is the Trinity. When you ask anybody, they'll be like, all right, yeah, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There's this 3. So the first was 3, which is triune, which is 3, 1. Okay? So this is how we get 0, 1, 2. Okay? So we have the Trinity, but then this is Elohim, the creating gods, right? And then after this we have Yahweh, who is Jehovah, who is Yahuwah, who comes on earth. And Yahuwah is YHWH, which means 4, which is actually literally called the tetragrammaton. So the grammatone, let there be light, was spoken by the 4-letter God, the 4-letter tone. So this is why 3 is 4. Because when you add 4 and 3, you get to the divine number, which is 7. Perfection. Because it's 3 and 4. Because 3 is 4. Because 3 has 4. So it's all the same thing. So we'll get to that, to 7 in a little bit. But when you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, you've actually completed all of the numbers. Because through this, you have 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 10. So you've completed the whole cycle. Because this cycle starts with 0, 1, and ends with 1, 0. So it flips. So it flips back. Okay? So from this fourth figure, right? From this fourth figure, we have 3. So 3 is 4, and 4 is just 3. This is the switch, and this switch happens a lot, especially in the Bible. This switch is very interesting, or very, very comic. This is the switch of Jacob. He switched his life for Esau. So this is the type of switch, and it's actually crazy. So and then we have 4, we have 5. So 5 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strokes, which is cool. So we're cool with 5 because 5 is actually behaving, right? And then we have 6. So 6 is interesting here. So I'm just going to exaggerate the strokes here a little bit. But as you can see, 6 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strokes, which is awesome. And then when we have 7, so there are 2 ways of writing 7. So 7 could be this, which is just 2 strokes. But this is 7. 7 is 3, and 3 is 4. So 4 has 3, and 4 and 3 is 7. Because 7 just looks like 4. It's the same thing. 7 is the number of God because God is the tetragrammaton, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah. It's called the tetragrammaton, the 4, which is the 7, perfected, which is the 4 has 3 strokes because the 4 is the 3. The 3 Trinity is 4 strokes, and the 4 Yahuwah is 3 strokes because it's all 7, both of them. And then when we have 8, this gets interesting because when we have 8, what we basically have when we have 8 are these 2 cycles here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 strokes for 8. This 4 strokes for 7, which is actually a 4. 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. Okay, and then the last digit we have is 9. So there's several ways of writing 9 because all of these numbers are completed by this number. There is no other digit after this because once we go to 10, what we're using are 1s and 0s. So when we do this, so we actually do a flip. So from 1 we start to use 0, right? And then from 0 we start to use 1. So you see that when we get to 10 here, we have to flip these 2. So this is a circle, a cycle. So we actually flip this whole thing we flip it back, we flip it like this. So this is how we actually gain the numbers. So it's all from 1 and 0. All of them are from 1 and 0 because it's all Adam adding on to Eve. And then like Eve came out of Adam, they were just even. Because the dynamics of Adam and Eve, it's very important to understand that the dynamics of Adam and Eve only changed after the world fell. So they had a paradigm shift because Eve and Adam ate the fruit. But before that, they were at par. This is when God said, all right, as a curse to woman, to the two, as a curse, it's actually a hex. This hex was that this woman is now subject to the man. Before, they were at par. They were just co-equal, because this is how Adam could actually just listen to her like that, because they were just like that. They were just two of the same thing. He didn't argue with her. They didn't like. They were just at par. They were a pair, the perfect pair. That is like literally from the hand of God, the perfect pair. So so this is what we have. So with the last one, with the 9, we also have a 4. Okay, and then we also have we could also put it like this, which would be also a 6. Okay, which we could flip it back to the number 6, which is the same thing as this one. Or we could just look at it as 4, because when we remove this and remove that, we have when we remove that, the top one, we have a 4, like this type of 4. So 9 can be, oh boy, all right, I just wrote the usual one. So 9 can be this 4, which is this 4 here. Okay, so just notice that this 4 still has 1, 2, 3 strokes. So this could be still a 9, okay, from this 4, because 9 is perfect. 4 is the tetragrammaton. So when we remove this, we're deriving it from the 4, which is still 3 strokes. So you can write 4 in 2 different ways, and these 2 different ways are 3 strokes. So what we have with this whole number sequence is that at the end of the cycle, what we have are just these spirals. Okay, so the numbers end up just flipping. So they flip back between zeros and ones and ones and zeros. Because whenever we want to add more, this is Adam adding on to himself. This is the first word, the first number, the first figure. And it adds, it takes from itself and then it becomes 2. And from this 2, it takes from itself and then it becomes 3. But then this 3 is actually a 4. So this 4 is actually because a person is created by 2 people and then he becomes a third. But then this person has 2 people inside of him. So this person is 2 of these people, his own third individual. And this is why we get the 4th element, because the person is Adam, Eve. The person is themselves, and the person is both of those people. So you're an individual who's made of 2 individuals. So these 2 are still in you, right? So your mother is still in you, your father is still in you, but you're still one. Your mother is still in you, your father is still in you, you still have a father, you still have a mother. So this is how we get 4, because they are outside and they are inside. So this is why 3 is the number of harmony, because it creates that harmony. Because even though they're outside, they're both inside. So this is how it's all internalized. So when we have the 3, we have the balance. We also have the disunity. So because 2 and 3, it's an odd number, so it's odd, just like 1. So 1 is 3. This is why triune is the same thing. So from the 3, we have the 4. So the 4 is the force. So all of these are the moving forces, and the 4 has the 3, which is the balance, the 3 harmonies, because the 4 is mother, father, mother, father. So this is the 4 now manifest. This is the tetragrammaton. And then from this we have the 5, which is the complete, the half cycle. Okay, the 5, we have a lot of 5s, and then the 5 is derived from the 4. So you could actually look at life in different ways and in different stages. You could just look at life as one thing. You could look at it as one. Alright, fine. First of all, you could look at life as not being there, as being holy, as being something that is a cycle. This is where karma comes from, because they just recognize that there's a whole cycle. So they don't even go in this number line. What they do is that they just basically start with this whole cycle, and then they take it from there. They don't even consider the whole fact that everything is created in different ways. So it just has the whole cycle of karma, which is the holy cycle. So this cycle is what they consider. But then from that, you have one, which is just itself. So you could look at life as being a cycle or nothing. Or you could look at it as being a cycle in everything, right? But then you have one. One means that you could look at life as one thing. You could say that your life is just a lifetime. Your life is just time. So that's the one thing. And then you could also look at your life as time and space. So you could look at your life as life and death. You could look at life also looking at the duration of life and the duration of death. Like, all right, life is death. Or you could just look at it as the cycle of time. You could just look at it as life just being there or actually not being there. So you could just look at it as one thing. Like, all right, YOLO, you only live once. This is my one life and there's nothing else after that. You can also look at it as life and death, which is 2. And you can also look at life as 3. Which is you are born, you grow. Like you could look at the experiences in life as the reason. So this is the 3. Like you look at the third element in life, that you grow in life and then you die. And you could also look at it as 4. You could look at you are born, you grow, you decline, and you die. So you could also look at it as the 4 elements of life. And from these 4, you have 3, 2, 1, 10. So this 10 is important because when we talk about the tetragrammaton, let me just do this quickly. So you have 1, 2, 3. All right, I think I just I'm just gonna draw what the tetragrammaton is, and how you can actually just visualize it, so that you could see it a little bit more clearly. So, all right, let me show you this. Let me just show you this. So here, what we have is that you have 1, 2, 3. So first of all, you have 1, 2, 3 dots. Okay. So from these dots, this is where you get this whole 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 dots, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have 10 dots in this whole cycle. But in this 10 dots, you only have 9 tetragrammatons. All right. So this is how you can see that 9 is complete, but 9 represents 10. This is the old switch that I was talking about, that Isaac is Jacob, because 9 is 10, because 4 is 3. So when we look at 9, we're looking at 3 threes, which is the complete cycle. 3 is the harmony, the balance. And when we look at 10, we're looking at 2 5s. Okay? So when we have that, we have 5 is half, and we have 2. So we have 1 and 2. This is 10. This is 1 and 2. Literally half and half, 1. So this 1 creates 1 because these are 2. So the half and half will create 1, even though they're 2. The man and the woman form a third, or 1, form 1, 2, and 3, and 4, because the man is in the woman, is in the child as well. So when you understand this, you'd see that you could view life from very different angles, and really how you choose to see it is something that is based on how you actually understand this, and how you understand the role of Adam, Eve, creation, the tree, and the fall of man. All of those things is very important to understand, and this also gives you a deeper look into how you can begin to realize the way that life is set up, how it actually finds the rhythm, what is more important. And because when you know what these things mean, what you be able to do with your mind is very incredible, because knowledge is power. So when you have this understanding in your mind, what you can do is things that people used to go to Egypt to do. They used to come to Africa because everyone learned this stuff in Africa. So this is just stuff that maybe I knew at another time. Maybe that's why I know it. And that's just why I'm sharing it with the people who actually would watch this, so that I know that if you'd watch this, you're ready to hear this. So if you're watching this, then you're ready to know this and to know the power of it. So when you meditate on these concepts, when you find these concepts and you begin to interact with life on your own, what you begin to discover is a very different reality from what you were taught and what you believed and what you know. And you just be enthralled by the complexity, simplicity, and beauty of life, the harmony of the cosmos. So this is just how you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything. And 4 is 10. This is the crazy part, because 4 is complete. 4, the tetragrammaton. And if you don't know the tetragrammaton, just go and if this is your first time hearing the word tetragrammaton, or if you are not very clear on this term, just go on the video that says the tetragrammaton. It's I think it's words, spells, names, the tetragrammaton, and you get an understanding of what the tetragrammaton is and the power of it. And besides that, just look in the other links in this video and just see what you like, and just get what you like, because all of these things are there for you. So if you're ready for it, and I know everything is available to you, because everything, you're a king, so don't worry about nothing. So I really appreciate you watching this, and I hope that you can make your life more harmonious by knowing the knowledge that puts you in harmony as an organism. Okay, a human being you're humming as a human being, so you have to be at that vibe. You need a good vibe. This is what it is, human. So when you are humming, you're at that hum frequency. And whenever you're thinking, you're like, hey, tell me 10 animals right now, you start go like you start humming. Humming is the vibration of thought and of sound. So everything is created through that. And this thought and sound is in a rhythm, because everything is a sound. So this sound has a certain numerical sequence. So this is the power of this. Knowing that 1 is actually 2, 2 is 3, and everything is 0 and 1. 0 is holy, whole, and there has the great divide, the great divine, which is phi, which is the musical notes, which is the cross, which is how it was divided, because 1 made 2, made 4, and 4 is 3. Because when you actually divide the first division here, you have the great whole, right? And then you have the 2 divisions, right? You have this one and this one, and then you have this, and then you have the cross of Christ. You have the crisscross, and from this you have 4 different segments: north, east, west. You have everything created. Everything that is created is earth, wind, and fire and water. 4. So this 4 is everything that is in there. So when you have this, you have the 2 divided, and the 2 divided again. This is why the 2 are 4, because 2 and 2 is 4. So when you understand this, you just know that the 2 is actually 1, holy. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 is all holy. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is 10, which is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, 0, 1. Everything is that cycle. So this cycle is just the 8. It just keeps on replicating. So yeah. So I did my best to explain this to you. So I really hope that you understood this, and I thank you a lot for watching this. I'll see you soon.